2 teams of 5 developers will make a video game. Here's the rules. I start creating a game in Unity, then I pass this exact same prototype to 2 different developers who then had 6 hours to make progress on it before passing it on. This way we get 2 different teams. The question is, which one will make the best game? Which squad began with the exact same base prototype, but the 2 games could not have ended up more differently. This is the branching past the game challenge. At the end of the video, I'll ask you guys to let us know in the comments which is your favorite game, and the team which made it will move on to the finals against one of the other 2 teams. Keep in mind that whenever a developer passes on the project to the next dev in his team, no communication between them is allowed, which sometimes leads to crazy twists and dramatic misunderstandings, all of which could lead to a bad game and the elimination of the entire team. So let's start with the base. This is the project I created and which I would then pass on to 2 different devs. I made some lush open fields which you can run and jump around with a stylish silhouette style character. Whenever you land, you create a deadly explosion which can be used to destroy enemies. For now, the enemies are these orc characters which I downloaded from the asset store. You've got 1 stat, which acts as both mana and health. Whenever you sprint or jump, you lose some of that juice. But you can recharge by sticking around these glowing particles, which I made using the awesome living particles pack. Alright, now I'm going to pass this base to 2 different developers, and we'll see where they take it from here. But before we begin this fierce competition, which I assure you guys ends up completely crazy, this video is sponsored by Replica. This is a powerful AI voice acting platform for video games. They've recently announced their smart NPC plugin, where AI-powered NPCs will dynamically respond to the player's in-game voice in real time. Characters will change their dialogue, emotional tone, and body gestures in reaction to how the player speaks to them. You can also alter the information provided to the AI to instruct them to behave differently or have certain personalities. It basically allows smaller studios who don't have the resources to script and vocalize on a huge scale to dream big and scale their games into the epic adventures they've always wanted to make. Cherry on the cake, it even animates the NPCs to match up with the audio stream with accurate lip syncing, for example. You can check out Replica using the link in the description.
Hello, my name's Dan and I run a game dev channel here on YouTube. I have a range of content including this inventory tutorial series and this base building series and these collab videos. The first thing I did, because of the large jump height and speed, was make the terrain a lot bigger to allow for more freedom. I then decided to create 2 types of the particle pool, so there's now red and blue for health and mana respectively. Then I implemented the concept of player health, as well as a health bar and a mana bar to show this. It was here that I thought to myself, I've made a huge mistake. There was this faceless avatar, and I had an idea for a weird galaxy shader, which I definitely wasted a lot of time on creating. To fit the spacey kind of theme I'd now apparently gone for, I had some cool space skyboxes in my asset library, so I swapped one of those in to match our new otherworldly character. Then I added an end state, which shows a game over screen, and a reload button in case the player dies. The last thing I decided was to work on power-ups, so we've got one for giving the player more health, and one for increasing the player's jump height. Creating the models for these in Blender, and then I implemented them into game, and this is where we were by the end of my time with the project.
Hey guys, my name's Daniel, I'm from Hive. I just got the project files, so I'm hoping I can make something cool, but I have no idea what to even expect, so let's get right into it. So opening up the project for the first time, I instantly loved the idea. There was explosions, there was ragdolls, fluid movement, and I'm definitely gonna mess this up somehow, aren't I? But as I was jumping around and creating explosions, the first thing that came to mind was a game called Infamous. I wanted to take a page out of their books and give the players some way to have more precise control over their jumps. So I made it so whenever the player holds down the right click button, the timescale would be set to 0.4 or something, and we would add a nice little post-processing effect to show that he was in a slowed down state. Next up, I want to visually show the player where he was going to go, and to do this, I raycasted straight out of the camera until I hit something, and I used this to set a trail renderer between the start and the end positions. This was pretty simple, but it ended up working exactly how I wanted it to, so thankfully we could just move on from that. Now to launch the player, all I had to do was apply a force into the direction that he was aiming, and we had the basics working, with no bugs of course. But with the remaining time, I want to shift my focus onto some art and figure fixing up any bugs caused by my system. So with keeping up with this whole infamous inspiration, I did want to add some sort of cityscape, but I knew my modeling skills were, let's just say, lacking, so I went for a minimalistic style, or in other terms, just cubes basically. And after adding those in and fixing up some bugs, I also adjusted some of the post-processing to give it that nice look, and this is what I ended up with. So that was the 6 hours I had to go in and get my hands dirty with this project and get it ready for the next developers. And if you guys haven't checked out Hive, go ahead and do so. That would mean a ton, and I'll see you guys next time.
You can already tell that both teams are going in different directions, especially from a visuals point of view. By the way, guys, if you also want to learn how to make games, you're in luck because we've created a free training that will teach you how to make your very first 3D game in 30 minutes. With that said, let's continue with developer number 2 from Team Red.
It was like any normal day. I woke up, drank my goat milk chai latte, no dairy macchiato, cold press.
What the hell is this? Oh god.
Day 1, I spent 4 hours just trying to get things to work properly. I decided not to count any of those hours as real time. It was dicey, but I had to take risks.
I'll just stare at the stars. And maybe they'll guide me.
In the 2 hours of light I had left, I scrounged together some art and recalled the words I spoke when I opened the project.
I'll just stare at the stars.
I looked to the stars, but in the daylight, there was just one, burning my corneas. That was it! The game was going to be about the one lone star.
So Nolamo completely changed the game's direction, replacing the otherworldly space theme for a blistering desert where you control a character that dies when exposed to sunlight. These are perhaps the most dramatic changes we've seen in this sort of challenge since the wildly hated centipedes. Hats down for the huge amount of work in barely 6 hours, but let us know what you think of these wild changes in the comments, and if you disagree with Team Red's number 2, constructive and polite feedback is always welcome.
Hey, I'm Tiko, and I'm a 3D artist, and you're watching Game Dev Gone Wild. Okay, so, as you can see, you got a guy running around, a bunch of red dudes are chasing him. You can jump, you land, cause an explosion, and they go flying. And I have no idea what to do with that. So, after 5.5 hours of an existential crisis, I got to work. With my last 30 minutes, I decided to work on the main character first. I started with cutting him in half, doing the UVs, unwrapping him, getting him ready for texturing, and mirrored him, then started sculpting with the multi-resolution modifier so the UVs won't be messed up, and then brought him into Substance Painter. It's a little tricky because I didn't have enough time to really mess with any concepts or sketch anything out, but that's completely fine. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I kind of went with like a superhero type of vibe, a little bit organic, kind of had like Alien, Venom, Spider-Man in my head just because of the movements and the living particles that you jump into to recharge. Then as you can see, I added some weathered gold to kind of accent the indentions and of course some emissive maps because glowy stuff is always great. And I think he's done. He looks crazy enough. It's time to bring him into Unity. Next were the buildings. There were models, but they weren't textured yet. So I UV unwrapped them, brought them into Substance Painter, and textured them up. Next were the enemies. I built on top of the existing character sculpt, made them a little bit kind of starved looking, so visually they have a reason to chase you around. And they still kind of look like the main character with no nose, not much of a mouth. There's a story there that you don't know much about. Next is texturing, always a great time. My favorite two things are sculpting and texturing, so this one is especially fun, you know, adding veins and just a lot of creepy stuff on it. I actually experimented with adding little blue dots in the middle of the eyes, but decided not to. I did end up adding a blue light in the prefab that follows each enemy, so that was kind of cool. I did make some roads, but they just did not meet the quality that we were going for, so I scrapped them, grabbed some from the asset store, and some streetlights actually too. Did not feel myself doing the level design with those, of course because I'm a ding dong, but here it is. So, Blackthorn, thank you for answering my ransom letter. I'm so excited to be part of this. I can't wait to get roasted in the comments, and I can't wait to see the final product.
2 devs from each team have worked on their respective games. Team Red has a lonesome adventurer who must avoid burning to a crisp in a blistering desert. Team Blue has a sort of twisted looking superhero jumping over hordes of aliens in a hyper-realistic city. Let's continue this madness with dev number 3 from Team Red.
My name is Skylor Beck, and I make video games with the support of my patrons. I just published my latest game, You Must Become a Lich, on itch.io. I started working on the player controller. Man, this is very complex. Next up, I made it so that the player's health bar is actually inverted, and it builds up over time to indicate that you are overheating. I moved the health bar to the left side and made it more of like a heat gauge. As it fills up, it starts to shake rapidly. I've gone ahead and made some more changes to the player controller and the animator, so now we can jump while standing still. And more than that, the jump actually keeps our current momentum instead of launching us forward at a ridiculous speed. And I added some more power-ups for jumping. There's also a pickup counter in the top right. It looks like there was some sort of upgrade done at some point because the shader graph that somebody made was completely broken. The map is fairly basic, but I feel like it gets the point across. With less than an hour left, I'm not sure where to go from here. Anything else I add would be half-baked, and so I yield the rest of my time to minor code polish and cleanup, as well as a little bit of post-processing magic.
Hey, let me introduce myself. Yo, it's Geimdevas on the track. My game dev skills, they're not that whack. Ready, stack, shit, the action co-op. It's the game that I'm working actually non-stop. My YouTube's channel, where I drop the knowledge. Game dev videos, are never too solemn. Listen up, yo, here's the deal. Gonna spit some rhymes, gonna keep it real. Stuck on the ground and couldn't explore. This shouldn't have to be, I'll make it right. Gotta keep them moving, gotta keep them inside. But before I start, I'll give it a shout out to the devs before me, without a doubt. Felt like a villain, like a jerk. I apologize for discarding the work. I hope it's for the better, gonna make it right. Gonna make the loop, that's the main highlight. Rooftops and Spidey take me back in time. PSX Spider-Man, I'll make him shine. Added in some fog and the skybox too. Color palette popping, gonna make it new. Gotta make the loop fast, gotta make it quick. Endless runner style, gonna make it sick. Jumping on a rooftop, killing aliens. Gotta kill count going right there on the left. I'm about to wrap it up, go and make it clear. Game over screen was the last thing I did here. Alright, I hope you did like my changes and my first time ever rapping. I hope this wasn't too cringe.
Okay, here's a side-by-side comparison of both games. And now introducing the final dev from Team Red.
Hello, I go by Bewky and I make silly wacky videos about game dev. After playing the game a little bit, it seems the objective is to 3D platform your way to the finish as soon as possible without getting burnt by the sun. No, fuck! And the game is already pretty visually appealing so far, so let's focus on gameplay. To me, the game felt like it was stuck between two goals, gathering all the upgrades in the level and completing the level as fast as possible. But I didn't feel like these two goals complemented each other very well, so I decided to take the game in a more Ricky Bobby, go as fast as possible direction. The first thing I did is what we call in the game dev industry, better jump. Essentially, this allows the player to hold the jump button to jump higher and tap the jump button to jump lower. This gives the player more control when platforming around the level. And at this point, the game feel reminds me a lot of a third-person shooter battle royale that you all might know. That's right, Spellbreak. And what does Spellbreak have? Say it with me. Absolutely nothing because the servers got shut down, but yeah, they also have spells or whatever. So I added this cool little rock throw spell that explodes on impact, damaging anything around it. But gosh frickin' darn it, crappin' darn it, frickin' shit. We don't have anything to damage. So I started working on a basic enemy that emits light to damage the player even in the shadows. But we gotta keep it simple because we don't have that much time. So I added a sphere, created a shader that makes him a glowy lava boy, added some eyes, added some animations, and called it good. I also made it so they drop a health pack when they die so the player has a reason to kill them. Now since this is gonna be a speedrunner focused game, we need to add things that speedrunners like. And what do speedrunners like? Frickin' swag ass combo wombos that they can show off to all the hunks and honeys. So I added a dash. I don't really know what else to say. You just dash in the direction the player's aiming. And you might be thinking, but Bewky, how does this dash gonna help me do swag ass combos to get all the hunks and the honeys? Well, how about this, you stinky little baby? I added a pull that if you dash into it, it launches the player into the air and resets their dash to be used again. Anyway, at this point, I had used most of my 6 hours, but because Noah and Liam are absolute boss legends, they allotted me an extra 2 hours to polish up the game. So I modified the level a little bit, accounting for the new mechanics, added an in-game timer to let the player know they need to make like Ricky Bobby and go fucking fast, and added an end screen when the player reaches the finish, showing them their end game time. Anyway, that's all the time I have.
I have no... I do not understand what's going on. After playing it for a bit and getting my bearings, I decided on polishing up stuff first, since I had no idea where I was going to take it. First, I moved the player to the center of the camera, which made it easier to aim where you were going. Then I made it so that you could move in all directions, not just forward. I also added sound effects. This game gets really boring really quickly, so I decided to add some more content to spice it up. I planned on having the game split up into zones, each one introducing a new feature to keep things fresh. Once you killed enough aliens, you would move on to the next zone. The next zone I worked on was the forest zone. I decided that the feature for this zone would be alien ships that could come and abduct you, so you had to keep out of sight of their tractor beams. It made it so you had to be more careful about timing your jumps and where you were jumping. I wanted to make the following zone a ship, which the aliens had supposedly arrived at Earth in. Originally, I wanted to make turrets which shot missiles at the player, but I realized that might be a little ambitious for the time I had left. So instead, I settled on fellow agents, which were also out to kill aliens but had been captured or something and they were too scared to escape. You had to avoid killing them, and if you did, you'd get a bloody sound effect and the game would end. To finish it off, I added a windscreen that popped up when you beat the ship zone of the game. I also added a pause menu where you could change your sensitivity and game volume. If you think my changes are stupid, then tell me in the comments section, but honestly, I think it went alright.
Okay, so let's see what this is all about. Alright, first off, this just looks so cool. The like atmosphere, it just... Alright. Okay, so... Oh no! How did I mess up already? This is... I really like this. Like, the sound effects just bring this all together. Oh, there's not even like a loading screen or anything. That's dope. Oh no.
See my buildings, my character, and the enemies I made. The sky looks really cool. It's moving. It's moody.
Whoa, what on earth? Oh, I'm gonna assume I have to avoid those things. Oh, this is cool, dude. Oh no! You were abducted. Alright, let's try it again.
Who made this? This character model.
Yeah.
Good details.
Oh, I love the character models.
Yeah.
They were great. The buildings, dude.
They did a lot of detail.
Oh, look at the flips! No, no, no!
Okay, I am Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, apparently. Okay. Okay. Oh. What am I supposed to do?
Okay, enemies give power-ups now. Seems like the pickup range is much increased as well. Let's see what's down here. What is this? Some sort of... Oh, that kills you too. Okay, I see. So we want to avoid all light, not just the sun. I wonder if the enemies count. The enemies seem like they were maybe like blobs of fire. Oh, they do, and they're real strong. It's definitely harder than it was. Okay. Oh, crap. Man, I am not good at this game. This is incredibly frustrating. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Can I make that jump? What am I... Okay. I don't get it. What am I supposed to do there? Damn, it looks like there's a whole bunch of level up there and I have no idea how to get to it.
Okay. I panicked.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're the farthest we've gone. I panicked because of the light. Super interesting. But it was a little overly hard.
You can play both games for free, and now it's time for the ultimate verdict. Which game do you prefer? Let us know in the comments, and the team that made it will move on to the finals against Team Green or Purple. Make sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the future crazy videos that are currently in the making. Remember that you can also take your very first steps to becoming a game developer by watching our free training on how to make a 3D game in under 30 minutes. This is a great opportunity and I hope you guys will enjoy it and learn something new. Alright, with that said, thanks for watching, stay tuned, and see you really soon. There's some incredible collaborations coming up. Cheers.